All right, guys, gals, and N pals, lock in. It's breaking news time. My favorite time. There's been a new scandal in the Trump administration. An administration that you could basically just put an image of all of them together in that one big photo under the definition of scandal, and you wouldn't be far off. I think most people would understand. The scandals that have routed through this administration have been constant. They actually have gone back to the previous administration made up of mostly completely different people. And yet, that administration was full of corruption and scandal itself. And when I say scandal, I mean legal scandal. Now, unlike in the past, there's no adults in the room within our federal government, so the legal scandal we're looking at here will see no consequences, no justice brought about. It is entirely the court of public opinion that matters here, whether or not we let this story die and let Trump get away with it once again. It is imperative we stop doing this. We need to stop letting Trump get away with it. You see, Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, which is a term that has basically become an actual real phrase in politics now because Trump called Kamala Harris that so goddamn much. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, just got outed because back a few years ago before Trump took office, he was wiretapped by the FBI and was caught accepting $50,000 from some kind of federal intelligence, maybe not for the United States, to take money, and he was taking money in order to follow through on policies that would benefit these corporate interests, particularly around immigration. It's really weird, dude. And I think it's probably going to give us a lot of insight into what the long game of Trump and his, corrupt administration really is. Because at the end of the day, we know that Trump and his goons are not really, ideologically attached to fascism. Fascism is their tool they're using to gain hold, and consolidate power. And with that power, I think they want to get something. And like any wealthy, soulless, demonic billionaire or millionaire in the case of Trump, I think they want more money. I think they want to monopolize entire industries, and I think they want to use government policy to do so. All the while shutting down any criticism and any journalist who's able to catalog their actions for future historians to discuss and pull from. With that said, this scandal it gets spicy. Trump's in charge of the government now. He actually shut down the investigation into this, so we are not going to see any more come out about this than this, most likely. And that's why you guys should lock in. Pay attention. This is important.
MSNBC is reporting tonight Trump's Department of Justice shut down an investigation into Tom Homan, according to multiple people familiar with the probe and internal documents reviewed by MSNBC. In an undercover operation last year, the FBI recorded Homan, now the White House border czar, accepting $50,000 in cash after indicating he would help agents who were posing as business executives win.
Oh, they were posing as business executives. My bad. So they were full-on confirmed, agents. Okay. When government contracts in a second Trump administration. So the agents were tricking him, and he was caught on wiretap accepting bribe money to formulate policy and influence policy to benefit these fake business executives who were actually federal agents that were just trying to see if we bribe him with money to support our interests, will he take it? Turns out the answer is yes, and they caught him doing this, and Trump buried it, and now it's coming out.
In government contracts in a second Trump term. It's unclear what reasons FBI and DOJ officials gave for shutting down the probe, but a Trump DOJ appointee called the case a deep state probe earlier this year, and no further investigative steps were taken. Sources.
We investigated ourselves and we found no wrongdoing. Anyone who criticizes us is part of the deep state. I love how there's still a deep state. Trump must be the shittiest, most ineffectual president ever if after 2 terms and now going on 5 years of presidency, he still can't figure out who this deep state guy is. Who is Deep, first name Deep, last name State, and where is he? Who is this government employee or government employees doing the deep state shit? Where are they? What power do they hold? When were they elected? What seats do they hold? What policy have they pushed or influenced? Like, it's just a nonsense buzzword, but people just eat it up, man. It makes me want to do what the monkey they taught to understand American political views did upon fully realizing.
Say. Joining us now is one of the reporters who broke this story for MSNBC, Carol Leonnig, MSNBC senior investigative correspondent. Carol, it is good to see you. Thank you for joining us with this incredible reporting tonight. Can you break down for us what you've learned?
Yes. What Ken Delaney and my colleague here at MSNBC and I learned was that in the summer of 2024, when Trump was running for office and Tom Homan was at his side on many a campaign trail event, and basically...
Well, I know that in this case it might just be her connection, but MSNBC and CNN have terrible production quality on their content, like constant audio glitches and like weird bugging out and whatnot. It's not becoming of a massive multi-billion, I think, dollar corporation in news broadcasting when they're like trying to pivot to reaching an internet audience as well. It's very frustrating. If you like my production quality, though, consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It does help a lot on YouTube, and I'm not joking. Boost the channel and the algorithm directly, 1-to-1 in real time. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already and you want to see more.
Publicly touting that he was going to be an important part of the president's border initiatives and in the administration. During that time, the FBI began hearing from the subject of another investigation that Tom Homan was soliciting bribes, and doing so in exchange for promises that he would eventually be in the administration and be able to deliver and influence federal contracts to help those businesses that paid him. Now, what the FBI decided to do was have a series of undercover agents approach that intermediary and also approach Tom Homan.
Like, it's so wild. We literally have an administration of criminals running this country. They caught this motherfucker in a sting operation, and Trump's response is, shut it down, end of the investigation, bury the results, bury the evidence. Meanwhile, they caught this motherfucker on wiretap taking a bribe.
And our sources and an internal document that we reviewed show that the FBI recorded him receiving this money in September 20th in a meeting they arranged. This is all before Trump is president, but
this is the kind of corruption I expect from, like, Mexico or the Philippines in their government. This is, like... I've said it a million times before, but yeah, America is becoming a third world country. And we're kind of there now. Like, when your country's GDP is now shrinking after, like, centuries of, like, constant upward growth, at that point, can we agree, like, yeah, third world country pretty much? When food and living costs are reaching unaffordable levels for a critical percentage of Americans, can we agree America has become a third world country? Because at this point, if it's not, I don't know what is.
It is really interesting because they didn't go after Tom Homan. They happened to learn from another investigation that Tom Homan apparently had this scheme of...
Trump's administration is so corrupt, they accidentally discovered the corruption of one of the administration's members. They were like, huh, this guy's got more fishy stuff going on here. Let's just see if there's anything. Oh, yep, okay, yep. He takes bribes. He takes corporate bribes, okay.
Of making money by offering this.
Carol, incredible reporting that you and Ken did there. Can you walk us through what the response has been from various officials that you have presented this reporting to, whether it is at the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, or perhaps even the White House? What have you been able to learn from officials in response to this investigation?
Yes, the White House very quickly got back to us about this today. Kudos to them for that. And also Kaj Patel and Todd Blanche, the acting Deputy Attorney General, all issued statements to us in which they told MS.
How long until, like, the statements that the White House starts giving to the left-wing media start to be, we do what we want, go fuck yourself, stay mad, you crying liberal cucks? Like, are we? Do you think we are going to get to that point where like the White House's official statement to like CNN is just "fuck you"?
SNBC essentially that this was a improper investigation begun during President Biden's term, and that it was an attempt to go after a Trump ally, and they shuttered the case because they viewed it as lacking sufficient evidence to proceed. Of course, that is not.
That's right, guys. It just lacked. It's not that Trump didn't want to have his administration look bad for one of the many criminals that he and himself, also a criminal, are now running the country. He didn't want to make his administration look bad. That's not why he buried it. There just wasn't enough evidence, Being caught on wiretap, taking bribe money, just not compelling enough, guys. It's very circumstantial, if you ask me.
Not at all how the FBI agents or the prosecutors working on this case viewed it.
Carol, the FBI and DOJ prosecutors took no further steps in late 2024. Why is that?
So here's the rub.
This is one thing where I am just frustrated by Democrat leadership, where it's like, don't stop acting like you're going to win a second term. Like, the Republicans, when they're in power, realize there's a very good chance they're only getting one term. Because, people get pissed off by their bullshit. And so they play ball like they've got that one term and that's it. Democrats always, plan for term 2. You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to start an initiative that's going to put trillions of dollars into developing infrastructure. This project will be done in 4 years. It's like, but this is your second year. It's like, yeah, but we're going to win a second term. It's like, but what if you don't? And that's a big problem with the Democrats, is that there's not a lot of hustle, right? There's a lot of really good policies that Biden in particular passed that just weren't really hustled on when it comes to seeing anything through. Had those policies been untouched by Trump in the long run, and by that I mean even by now, we would have seen some pretty substantial results. But they just didn't hustle during their time in office, kind of just assuming they'd get another term. And a good example of this, or a couple of good examples actually, are the infrastructure funding bill. It's the biggest one in American history, and it would have been a great thing, though Trump shot it down after he took office. But it wasn't meant to. We weren't going to feel the impact of said infrastructure funding bill for another 3 or 4 years. It takes time to build things. It takes time to allocate funding to different construction companies to pay for said building and planning and whatnot. And so just the lack of hustle, Trump forces things to go fast, especially if it's a thing he knows will be popular. And that's just not the kind of hustle the Dems have ever had, to be like, I don't care if it's 100% as good as I promised it to be, just get it done and get it delivered now. The Republicans are willing to do that, to rush things in a way the Democrats don't, because they play ball like they know they've got only one term. You know what I mean?
And the unusualness. I'm so glad you asked that question, Elise.
Yeah, another good example, another good example is the electric car charger thing. Biden dedicated $70 million to building electric car chargers across America, just building them on the government's dime. And I believe only 17 had been built by the time Trump took office. I get why it took so long to get even those 17 made, but that's out of I think it was supposed to be 700,000 of them were supposed to be built by the end of Trump's current term, is the plan. That has also been cut off and will no longer happen under Trump. But the Dems need to stop focusing on things that we won't feel the positive outcome of unless until the next term, and they will only experience the accolades for if they win a second term. It's frustrating.
What happens here is when Tom Homan is allegedly making a promise and recorded accepting $50,000 in cash for this alleged promise, he is not a public official. So he cannot be charged with a strict bribery crime, which is normally what you would charge
He hadn't been put into power yet, but to be clear, like in said FBI investigation where he was caught on wiretap, they were specifically asking, so when you get given this position by Donald Trump in the future, then you will influence public policy in our favor as, well, he didn't know, but fake government, fake contractors, fake private corporate CEOs. So it's not that he wasn't a public servant when he committed this crime, but the goal of his actions was to do the crime once he became a public servant, right? It's definitely a little blurry on the lines of legality here, but I do think that it's absolutely objectively against the spirit of the law. Is Zan still hitting the pipe? If so, I'm out of here. Don't need dumbass stoned thoughts. What is this bizarre, like, anti-weed narrative? What the fuck? Also, no, I haven't smoked weed in quite some time. So, no, but also, what? I don't know.
Charge someone with if they were offering to help influence contracts in office in exchange for money. So what the FBI and the Justice Department decide to do is to continue to monitor him. As soon as he is named as a likely appointee, he's a public official by dint of the statute. So they decide they're going to watch him for a while and figure out, does he deliver? Does he try to deliver on the promise? Does he ask for more money when he's a public official? Then they could charge him with bribery instead of conspiracy or fraud or conspiracy to commit bribery. They decide they should just continue their investigation. But the words
he absolutely committed conspiracy to commit bribery, by the way. At the very least, that's what he did.
Stalled is so important that you mention, because when Trump is elected president, he names Homan as his border czar. By the way, a position that doesn't require a Senate background check or an FBI background check.
It's not a real position.
And immediately, the appointees of Donald Trump are very sour on this investigation when they get into DOJ and into the FBI and are not interested in it being pursued. And it is closed, we're told by sources, in very recent weeks.
Carol, have you heard from Tom Homan himself or seen any kind of reaction from him? And what are the remaining questions on your mind now?
Antonio, also a really good question. The first person I wanted to hear from was Tom Homan, because I can envision that he had an explanation for why he took cash while sitting in a room with people he didn't realize.
The explanation was they offered $50K, bro.
Were FBI agents. Maybe he did feel entrapped. Maybe he did have an explanation for why this happened. He was on a plane today when we were trying to reach him coming back from California, and the White House decided to issue a statement on his behalf. I still would love to hear what he has to say about the reason he appeared to make a promise and take money in a very unorthodox way. Usually FBI agents view someone taking a bag of cash as an indication that they know that what they're doing is criminal.
All right, MSN.
Usually the FBI takes someone accepting a bag of cash from a shady source as them knowing what they're doing is criminal. Yeah, it's a pretty smart assumption by past FBI administrations. Remember, the FBI of today is not the FBI of a year and a half ago. Completely different people running it. And I'd argue a lot of the ground, like the actual people on the ground have changed too by now. If not, soon they will have. Like they're definitely ship of Theseusing these different sectors of our government at a rate where you could argue they are not the same thing anymore. Because at a certain point, there will be none of the original planks, and it'll be within the span of like a year that they'll do this. So at this point, is it even the DOJ? Is it even the FBI? Like, it kind of isn't anymore. Trump's replaced a lot of positions that are bipartisan and are supposed to stick through several administrations. Trump's like, no, you've criticized me, you're fired. You're part of the deep state. Disgusting, corrupt stuff. And exactly what we expect coming out of the massively corrupt Trump administration. None of us should be surprised, but All of us should do our best to stay informed, and we gotta stop letting Trump get away with this stuff. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like down below and a comment as well. Whether you're watching live right now or in the future when this goes out as a video, it really does help a lot. And make sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon if you're new and want to see more from me. Otherwise, YouTube will probably not tell you when I go live or upload. You can also follow my social medias linked down below if you want to see more from me on other platforms, particularly my Discord servers, the main hub of my community and fan base. And of course, don't forget, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merchandise through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.